Alright, welcome to part 3, and in this video we are finally going to break down Bill Evans' secret fretboard shortcuts. This is not a video about how to play the piano, okay? We are going to take a look at the piano, and we are going to check out an example, plus some advice from Bill, but you don't need to be a piano player to follow this, I promise. We are only doing this so that we can then translate this pianistic simplicity onto the fretboard to rethink what is possible on the guitar. Let's head over the keys for a minute. Once I show you what piano players are looking at, we will then let Aimee Nolte show you her
favorite Bill Evans chords
as an example. I'll show you how we can translate that onto the guitar, and then we'll wrap up with some advice from Bill to help us understand how we can use all of this as one big secret fretboard shortcut. Check this out. C13 flat 9. Notice that my left hand C7 shell voicing, left hand, A major triad, right hand, together, C13 flat 9, C7 sharp 9 sharp 5, C7 shell voicing, left hand, A flat major, C13 sharp 11 9, D major triad, D F sharp A. All of these are just shell voicing and then some type of triad. Left hand, right hand. The simplest type of structures that we have in music, shell voicings and triads. In case you aren't already familiar, a triad is a 3-note musical structure built using the 1st, 3rd, and 5th of a scale or chord. A shell voicing is also a 3-note structure consisting of the root, 3rd, and 7th, generally. This is usually recognized as the simplest form of jazz harmony. Growing up, I always had what Freud might have called piano envy. I was always jealous of piano players and what seemed to come so naturally to them. I assumed the reason they were always so far ahead of guitar players and myself was because they had 10 fingers. But when I met Stefan Harris, like I mentioned back in the first video of this program, that changed. I realized that the real difference between guitar and piano was not that they were constantly using 10 fingers, but they actually had 2 separate hands that they could look down and see when they were playing. And that gave them the ability to play 2 stupid simple things at the same time. A basic triad in their right hand and a basic 1-3-7 shell voicing in their left hand, like I just showed you at the piano. And almost like a mirage in the desert, it creates these lush, colorful, deep harmonies. But it's just an illusion. Before I start showing you strategies for translating these ideas onto the fretboard, I want you to see that this is not just a music school theory idea. The greatest piano players of all time are using this triad shell voicing structure. Let's let an actual professional jazz pianist show you this idea happening straight out of her Bill Evans transcriptions and directly from how she teaches her piano students. I found this great YouTube video from Aimee Nolte where she shares her favorite Bill Evans chords. Make sure you stick around to the end, because after she introduces this harmony from Bill's playing, I'm going to help you get started translating it onto the fretboard, and then we're going to let Bill himself give us some advice for how to move forward with all this to develop our playing on the guitar.
Today we talk about my favorite Bill Evans chords. I have taken these chords from my transcriptions. Sometimes he plays these root notes and I've just left them out. Okay, here it is. If I was just seeing this, I might guess that C was the root note. And that would be a really cool chord.
Okay, notice that if this were a C7 chord, like Aimee just mentioned, she would be playing C, E, B flat in her left hand. C, E, B flat is a C7 shell voicing, 1-3 flat 7, and then the triad in the right hand. But, as she points out, Bill wasn't using this as a C7.
That's not what it is. Let me show you. What if I told you it's a G minor chord? Cool, right?
Okay, so if Bill was using this as a G minor chord like Aimee said, and if he was playing the root note, as she claimed he sometimes did, and she removed them for the transcriptions and the lesson, that gives us G, E, B flat in the left hand. That's a G minor 6 shell voicing, 1, minor 3, natural 6. And then the F sharp diminished triad in the right hand. Triad, shell voicing. Now tell me, would you ever, in a million years, have guessed that this harmony was just a simple shell voicing and a simple triad? What sets Bill Evans and Aimee and all the other piano players apart from guitar players is not that they're constantly using all 10 of their fingers. If you look at piano transcriptions, you almost never see them playing 10 notes at the same time. What gives them an advantage over us is that they have two hands. Look at any piano transcription or watch them play, and they are almost 100% of the time using both hands together. This gives them the ability to create these sonic illusions, creating complexity out of combining two simple things. So how in the world are we going to apply this to the fretboard where we only have 4 fingers? Well, we still need to check out Bill's advice, and then we have the whole rest of the course to talk through implementing it onto the fretboard. But to give you a taste and help you get started, check out this example. Grab the PDF to play along with me. Okay, before I break down what I just played, let's check out Bill's advice.
I think the problem is that a person, I see this in a lot of people that come to me, for instance, for advice, or should they go ahead and so on, that they tend to approximate the product rather than attacking it in a realistic, true way at any elementary level, regardless of how elementary, but it must be entirely true and entirely real and entirely accurate. They would rather approximate the entire problem than to take a small part of it and be real and true about it. And I think this is a very important thing, that you must be satisfied to be very clear and very real and to be very analytical at any level. You can't take the whole thing, and to approximate the whole thing in a vague way gives one a feeling that they more or less touched the thing, but in this way you just lead yourself toward confusion. You know, and ultimately you're going to get so confused that you'll never find your way out.
Bill is recommending that we attack the problem in a realistic, true way at any elementary level, regardless of how elementary. But it must be entirely true, entirely real, and entirely accurate. Is there anything more elementary than triads and shell voicings? As we can now hear from the piano playing examples, complex sounds don't have to be created using complex theory. They can actually be created using simple, elementary fundamentals, but put together in a way that creates that sonic illusion. And if we take a little time to learn to use triads and shell voicings in a musical way, the way Bill Evans and other piano players do, we can accomplish 2 things. First, we can develop a rich, pianistic, harmonic language with significantly more complexity and maturity than is usually available to us on the fretboard when only studying the standard chord scale theory approach. Later, I'll show you how to translate this into lyrical, melodic, improvisational language as well. And second, we can become much more playful, spontaneous, and authentic in the moment. Normally, these 2 accomplishments take decades of work, as each is ultimately a lifelong pursuit. However, when we look at how piano players view their instrument, see the simplicity of the structures they're using to create these sonic illusions, and follow Bill's advice of learning to use those most elementary things, triads and shell voicings make it possible to accomplish both of these tasks at the same time significantly faster, because they allow us to put aside the 10,000 things we think we need to learn to improve and stay 100% focused on 2 simple elementary level structures, triads and shell voicings, and how to use them musically. The simplicity of them creates a faster timeline for us to master them and become playful and authentic with them. And the piano player concept allows us to use them to create these sonic illusions of complexity. So let's go back and look at the example I played a minute ago. It was a 2-5-1 in G minor. The first chord, A half diminished, is a G major triad over an A minor 7 flat 5 shell voicing. G major over 5-6-5. This is root flat 5 flat 7. It's a slight variation of the shell voicing. Normally it's 1-3-7. I change it to 1-5-7. So this is root, flat 5th, flat 7th. And when we play them together, we get a 2-hand pianistic voicing. Shell voicing on the bottom, triad on the top. The second chord, I used a B flat major triad in my right hand over D7, except I didn't play the full shell. I only used 1 note from it. Over F sharp, 4th fret, 4th string. This is a rootless chord. If I were playing in a group with a bass player and they played the D note, the low root note, it would sound like this. And finally, Bill and Aimee's G minor chord. I'm just playing the F sharp diminished triad that Bill put into his right hand 2. But I've added an extra note to it, a tension note, that's going to create inner voice movement and want to resolve back into the F sharp diminished triad. And then at the very end, I threw in that G root note from the left hand. Of these chords, I'm either playing exactly what Aimee and Bill were playing, using the two hands together, the triad and the shell voicing, or I'm playfully using the triad or the shell voicing with a slight variation to create a more organic and flowing harmonic language. I don't expect you to understand this entire process completely from one video. Simply wanted to introduce you to Bill Evans' fretboard shortcuts by showing you what piano players are actually looking at, showing you an example of Bill using triads and shell voicings to create these sonic illusions in his own playing, and to help you get started. The rest of the videos in this course are going to break down a series of devices and techniques to get you seeing this stuff and playing it on the fretboard. We'll be looking at improv and harmony and application to make sure you're putting these into 2/5/1s and standards. Simultaneously create a more complex and rich sound, a more personal, playful, and authentic sense of musicianship. Many thanks to Aimee Nolte for her transcription work and her teaching. We guitar players can learn so much from piano players and teachers if we know what to look for and how to translate their thinking and their ideas onto the fretboard despite not having two hands. I've linked her original video below so you can check it out if you like. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to grab the PDF for the example I played a minute ago, or to access the full course, do me a favor and like the video, leave me a quick comment below to let me know that you found me on YouTube and are headed over to the site, and then follow the link in the description or the pinned comment to get registered for the full free course. Can't wait to see you in the next video, where we're going to begin looking at our application studies to help you take these ideas and your jazz guitar playing to the next level.